Okay, so I'm working out what I'm going to do for the headstock inlay or whatever. The headstock decoration is my plan. So I've been playing around. I was going to try the 3D, it's called prismatic inlay or something like that, where with V-Carve Pro you can cut a V-groove and then a negative of that V-groove that fits inside the V-groove, plane it flat, and you end up with an inlay. The problem I have is the design I've come up with, which you will see eventually in due time. The design I came up with has really thin, narrow, skinny things, and I just don't think I'm going to be able to get this stuff. I was going to do a perloid. I was going to make this the fill inside of it, so cut out the design, flip it over and stick it into the V-groove. But I don't have confidence in it being able to do that level of fineness. So I'm trying this other ideas. I'm going to go back to the old perloid and acetone game, melt it into a bit of a paste or a putty, and then squish that into the V-grooves, let that dry, and see what it looks like. I've got a couple of test pieces I'm working on, but right now I just want to get the perloid cut into tiny enough pieces that it's got enough surface area to dissolve quickly in the acetone. So all I've done is just took this microplane, put a straight blade in it, and I've got the perloid, and I'm just scraping away like a cheese grater. Okay, I just threw a little, like literally 5 or 10 drops of acetone in it, and I don't know how well you can see it, but it dissolved really quickly because there's a lot of surface area. You see down in there? How about like that? Anyway, dissolved really fast, so now I think we can use it as a nice paste. There's a fair bit of mahogany shavings in here because my microplane was not as clean as I thought it was, so I may need to do another batch without the speckles because they are definitely obvious. Yeah, I think I will. This little snot will work as a test though. If I do it for real, I'll if it does work out, if I do a real thing, I'll do a cleaner harvest. Alright, so now we'll go back over to the test piece. I'll bring the test piece over here. I'll just bring it over here. That'll work. And we'll spit it out right here. Okay, this was just a quick little test cut on the CNC and some poplar. It's going to do even better if it's ebony or even that mahogany. Even the mahogany neck headstock itself would do better. So just got a little EC signature in here. The V-carve is the outline because I had planned on doing an ebony overlay, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. But I coated it with shellac so that this stuff doesn't try to bleed through too badly. I'm trying to keep it contained, so I'm going to just spit it out here, and we'll just sort of ooze some of this in. This is sort of an interesting experiment. We'll just try to squeegee some of it on to fill in these gaps. A little more transparent than I was kind of expecting, but I'm just going to lay it on good and thick, making sure I don't have any bubbles down in there. Keep all that mahogany. Try to strategically allow the mahogany to not land where I want it. Try to prevent it from landing where I don't want it to go. I'm going to grab a little bit more and just goop it on. I'm leaving it on really heavy on purpose. I'll scrape off. Oh, there's a piece that got down inside it. Let's see if I can pop that out of there. Come on. And just bring some fill over here. Yeah, we gotta make sure it's in there thick enough. use that as a way to get rid of that mahogany. Squeegee some of it on there. Okay, now I feel like I've got a reasonably full groove here. And it's on thick enough. There's more than enough here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this rinsed out so I can reuse my jug. And I'm going to let that dry, see what happens. We'll see how that does. Alright, well, it's been the next day. This has been a couple of coats now. I think it's going to work, but I'm not entirely certain. It sinks in pretty good. So just clean some of this up a little bit and see how it turns out. So forgiving all of the mahogany sawdust that's in it. Yeah, I think it, not sure I'm a fan. So it gets kind of, I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of porous. And that's not all mahogany dust, that's just bubbles. So I don't know if I need to make it with a vacuum bag or something or what, but I don't think this way is going to work. So the perloid goo, I tried to give a second life because it worked terribly as a glue, but maybe as a fill. See, the thing that's promising for me is this looks great. This line right here looks fine. It's just in the lettering that's not turning out real well. And I'm not sure what I need to do to make it do that. Maybe I'm not fully given up yet. Maybe. I think what I'm going to do is cut another test. In fact, I'm going to do a few of them. I'll cut another test. That's what I think I'll do. Is I'll put another V-groove pattern in, mix up another batch, make sure it's clean this time, and I think it'll be all right. So this line right here, this V-groove, looks really good. You can't see that. This right here, see how this little outline line, that looks really good. This looks like bubbly crap, but this looks really nice. This is what I was hoping it would do. In a chunk of, you know, dark colored wood, that would look neat, I think. But yeah, that was my plan anyways. That was the hope. But this, yeah, the lettering just got really bubbly for some reason. I'm gonna try a little goo down on the non-shellac side and see if maybe, because I don't know if I got shellac down inside of this groove. I know I got it in here. So maybe the shellac is the X factor. So I'm going to mix up another quick little batch and see if I can tell any difference over here. And I'll bring it up. I mixed up a little bit, and I mixed up some and I used a little less acetone, so it's more of a gel or a jelly, like a paste, not quite a paste, but more of a gel. And I'm just going to mush it down into this groove over here on this side, just to see if I can do it without making all the bubbles happen that happened in the signature section. And leave it on really thick. Make sure it gets down in there and leave it thick. I'll put some over in the signature thing just to see if it helps with see if it has any impact on those bubbles. I have a feeling those bubbles are going to stay put. But once it's in and dry, it tends to get a little bit more opaque, a little whiter. So we'll bring you back when it's dry. Alright, so I was all pleased with the neck shaping and all of that, but there's something I have to fix because I don't like it. So the binding on the neck and the fretboard came out alright, except the fretboard was a little wide, and while I was shaping the neck, I burnt through it a little bit. You see that? That looks like poop, right? Well, on the other side, that's the bottom side, so when you're playing, you're going to hold it like this. That's down here. Won't matter. You won't see it, but it matters to me. And on the top side, I don't know if you can see the dark spot there, but that little, it's dark there. And the binding was not wide enough to make up for the difference of the fretboard being so much wider than it should have been. So it was off by a few dozen thou, probably 20 thou, 25 thou. So what I'm going to try, as best I can, is set this up in the CNC perfectly flat this way and angled so that this edge is parallel to the axis, and then I'll flip it around and tweak the setup again and do this edge that's parallel to the axis. And I'm just going to cut this mold. I'm just going to cut this binding off and install new stuff, because it's not good enough. Not for this guitar. It's not good enough. I can't deal with this gap, this mess. This doesn't look good, and I'm not pleased with it. So this guitar is important enough. I'm working out a rig to hold the whole mess flat in this plane and get one of these edges parallel to the y-axis, and then I'll set the depth and cut just a little in. I'm only going to take a few thou off the fretboard itself, but I will remove the entire bit of binding for sure. I still have to work out how I'm going to hold the neck itself on without being in the way. I'll work that out. Got a few things to work out, so this is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I've got a dial indicator. I'll check it with the axis a few times. We're going to be doing this a few times to be certain. And I think I need to I think I'm going to need to raise stuff a bit. May not have bolts long enough. We'll see. Can I get up under that? I can probably get up under that. It's a little bit of a bump there. Yeah, that I can get onto. Alright, I just need to get some boards under here. So we're going to spend a bit of time getting this rig satisfactory. In the meantime, have some beautiful music. Everything is very tight. Everything is shimmed well. We're going to give this thing a go. It's not aligned beautifully. It's within probably 10 thou along the length, which I'm going to have to call it because things are not perfectly straight since I was spoke shaving and rasping and sanding and all that stuff. But what I do know is that I should be able to get very, very near the bottom of this thing. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the bit. You're going to have to, I'm afraid you can't see it very well. I might try to find a better location for you, but basically the idea is to cut away just very little at a time, very low impact, it's the same lesson as always. Slow down, take my time, make sure I get this all right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to line the bit up, and I'm going to move you guys around. I want to line the bit up so that it is just the right depth, and we make a pass, and we just literally take thousandths at a time. Very, very little time. Very little passes at a time so that we don't F this thing up. So I'm going to move you guys around. I think I'm going to try to give you guys maybe an underside view. I'm not sure, but I'll try to set up a better view. Alright, this looks like a decent enough view. Pretty good view. First thing I'm going to do is get kind of close to the binding here. Come down, and I'm going to use the bottom of this as my gauge. I'm going to grab a piece of something. This will work. A little piece of wood here and go until it just barely touches. Let's make it a little bit of a scratch line there, maybe. Yes, just barely. I'm going to call that Z0. I'm going to come out. I'm actually going to grab a piece of paper. We're going to use that as our edge zeroing. I'm just going to take a second here. I'm not going to do a huge amount. In fact, we're going to do the Sharpie trick here. So let me move this out of the way. I'm going to run down this whole length with a bit of Sharpie. Hopefully not to, well, I did just draw on my, I was hoping not to draw on the fretboard, but I just did. I can get that off with alcohol, thankfully. Hopefully that's actually drawing on there. And that will tell me, yeah, that'll work. That'll at least tell me that I'm reaching the top side. And I really don't care that it's 0. What I care is that it's just barely touching. Oh, crud. I just lost it. That's what happens when you hit the wrong keys. Ooh, careful. I'm going to go down just a touch more for the Z. Just go till it bites. I think we're there. Oh yeah, we did just take a little. So now Z is zeroed and X is zeroed, and I only want to do Y moves here. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, we took just a tiny little bit. Okay, so I'm going to call this point Y0. I'm going to back it off. I'm going to go to the other end and see how long I need it. It should be about 18, a little over. Okay, we're past it. 18 1/4. So if I did 18, I'd have to come back some. So let's do 18.5. That'll do. Okay, so we're going to go to 0. Actually, I'm going to manually G1, Y0, F100. That's probably a decent speed, actually. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Now we'll go to X0. So I didn't want to have it as going to 0 and with the machine off. So now, so if I go this way, X.00, oh, I can't tell there. I'm just going to go doink. Okay, so that's positive, negative to the left, as you would expect in a Cartesian coordinate system. Do X0 again. Okay. This is moment of truth. Make sure we're not going to wiggle around too badly here. Looks all right. This is not a climb cut. It might need to be, but I want to make sure I don't do this by hand, because by hand I can get stalling, and I want to make sure that it moves smoothly. Okay, this could very well cause me to have to make a new neck and fretboard. I hope it doesn't. It shouldn't. We'll see. Man, I hope not. This is that moment where can I live with the imperfection? I'm seriously debating that. Let's go out just a hair. X.2 and do Y 18.5. One thing I want to double check is that my Z on this end is about enough on that end. And we'll go X0 again. Got to remember I'm at 0 here. And just get us a glance here. Might be a little bit high. Might be just a tad bit high. What do you guys think? Let's do, let's go back to X.2, Y 18. Now we can do, I'm worried about hitting X0 here, but oh no, that doesn't look too terribly off. It does look a bit though. Dang it, I need to put a different shim in there. We're not quite level like I want to be. It's not quite. So I was checking for level on the top surfaces, which is a bad idea because this radius and this radius, they're the same radius, but they're wider, so we've lost thous here. We were up higher out here. That means I need to put another shim under it. It's probably safe to do so now. Safer now than later. I think I might go back to, God, I hate to tear this whole thing apart. Let's get out of this. Let's go this way. Sorry if I'm in your way for a second here, but I think I need to adjust this so that when it comes out on this end, I'm cutting a shelf that's level and at the right depth. I don't want to go too deep down this end. Yeah, okay, I'll be back in a second. Okay. All right, we finally got it dialed in. That took a little bit of doing. It's gonna suck flipping it around, but I think we're in a place that I'm less uncertain about the alignment of things. Right this moment, I am looking for where I put my earphones. There they are. All right, so we're ready to make an attempt at our first cut here. I may not need ear protection. We'll see. I got it turned way down. I got the RPM down to 10,000. I'm going to very, very carefully try this. And call that 0 and 18.5. All right, here we go. I'm gonna say, I think, let me double check some of this. Yeah, there's a pretty good lip all the way down. That's reasonably fair. It's a fairly fair curve. We can take a little bit more off these sides now. When I was cutting, I was actually deliberately not taking a full cut because I was nervous. But I think this side is done. And it's about lunchtime, so I'm going to call this good here. You know what I'm going to do? I wonder if a spring cut would be better. No, I think it's fine. It feels alright. That's alright. So far, we have not completely destroyed this fretboard. But now I got to flip it around and realign everything. So that's going to take some doing. I'll bring you back when that's ready. Alright, we've aligned the second one up. It didn't take as long as I thought it was, maybe 20 minutes. Now that I've done it once, we are now in that position of being ready to make a mess again. So yeah, here we are again. I'm just gonna I don't think I'll do much talking this time. Too much to many of your relief, I imagine. And I'm just going to go for it. So here we are, M4. All right, well, that's I think pretty clear. I think we managed to avoid completely hurting everything. I'm gonna run the machine over here, hopefully safely. We'll hit those if I can clear them here. Yeah, we'll clear them. They're safe. Just want to make sure I didn't slam into the clamps. Clamp slam's bad. Okay, so that, with, I'm going to call that a bit of luck, takes care of removing the binding. And we'll take it out of there and you can have a peek at it. So there's a couple of little spots where, yeah, so here we go. Pretty clean. It's a little, you can see the black dots in there still. But pretty clean, clear, and ready for new binding to go in. So that's what we'll do after lunch, I do believe. Alright, well, pretty cool. Now would have been the time to deepen all those fret slots, huh? This is what happens when you build without experience. You do some things that you have to go back and fix. So I've got little edges for the new binding to sit on, and then I can just trim right up to the mahogany. I don't have a ton to play with on that, which is fine. No problem. Cool. So we'll bring you back after lunch. Alright, so we've got the binding all nice and removed except this last little tip. And I'm going to try to get that off of there without destroying anything as much as I possibly can. Start by just trying to... No, it's definitely glued well this time. So I'm going to try to find a nice place I can dig into it here. There we go. We just need to get it to split open first, and now I think we'll unzip it pretty easily. I need to put the holdfasts on my vise because it's tippy. Okay, now we should be able to safely unzip here. Well, I will say the glue has been doing its decent job. That's good. A better job than anticipated, so that's nice. There we go. We are free and clear of that. Take that tiny little small little smidge there, preferably without tearing that end out. Okay, because I want the end to be the last piece to go on. So. All right, now we just have to hang on to this bugger in such a way that will allow me to tape on some binding nicely again. Try to get a hold of it here. That seems okay. Alright, now I'm going to grab my bits o' bindings. So then, I think we're just going to grab our glue, the usual glue that I've got glue for, and stick it on there. Cool. Yeah, we'll get some glue to it. let that dry. Man, I made a mess of that, didn't I? It's goopy again. It's all goopy again. Oh well. Goopy is better than incorrect, says I. Okay, let that dry. Alright, well, this stuff has dried, but it's sunk way down into it. This was the new stuff. This was my test. It's sunk in pretty far. It's soaked in, I guess, basically. What I think is the problem is too much liquids, not enough solids. I'm going to give it one more go, and then I'm going to give up on it. I think if I can get it a thick enough consistency, I can make it a paste instead of a liquid. So I'm going to try that next. I got to slice up some more. Slice up some more of this. So far I'm still on the very first one of 10, so I've got lots of this stuff. I'm not quite ready to give up on it yet, so I'm going to start making some more and I'll be back with you. So the pastier stuff did shrink back like all the others do. It shrank back a bit less, but yeah, it would take so many tries, so many coats. I do not like the solution any longer. What I think I've decided I'm going to do instead is polyester resin instead. We're going to find some of that because I suspect it will work better. And yeah, I'm done with the perloid as an inlay thing, or as at least a fill. It was worth the experiment. I gave it a try, but I'm pretty much giving up on perloid for pouring it into a signature. It's fine for little square bits and cutouts, but calling it on this one. It's just not doing it for me. So we'll find something else.